Hey my friends, it's Brad, the Bearded Piper, and I hope you all are having a great day. I apologize for not making a video over the last few weeks. 2 weeks ago, I actually made a video of what I was going to take with me to the United Kingdom, but I wasn't sure of the content. I had emailed Brian Levine from Pipes Magazine radio program because he and his wife travel a lot to get some tips and advice. He got back to me later in the week, but I was out of town for work. It was crazy. I had to leave Wednesday to go out of town for work, got home late Friday, like 7 o'clock Friday, and then we flew out on Saturday. So I had to have everything packed and ready to go. So I never got that video out. And then, of course, last week we were actually in the United Kingdom, so I didn't get the video out last week either. So let me tell you a little bit about this. I'm going to try to make it short because I keep making this video and it keeps getting too long because I know a lot of folks are here because of pipes, not listening to me tell about my stories. So I'm going to do this a little bit different this time because I've made like 15 or 20 takes of this video so far, and it's getting late and I have to be at work tomorrow. So I'm going to start off and tell you about the tobacco portion of it first, right? So, but first, I got to tell you this because this is very exciting to me. The biggest reason we went over there is we sold a dog to a woman named Jo who lives in southern England. And Piper, the dog, was lifetime qualified for Crufts, which is the largest, most prestigious dog show in the world. And she told Dawn that anytime she wanted to come over and show Piper, she was more than welcome to do so. Last year was our 25th wedding anniversary. Piper's 10, and it was a now or never thing. That's why we decided to go to the United Kingdom the first week of March, not always when the weather is going to be the best, which the weather was great. We didn't get any rain. It was beautiful. It was just a wonderful, wonderful week. It was windy and cool, but most of the time I walked around in a Columbia sweater, not even a coat. But anyway, while we were there, we did and saw a lot of stuff, and I'm going to tell you that at the end because you're here for the pipes and tobacco, and if you want to stick around for that, that's awesome because I love you for it. So let me tell you about the pipes and tobacco first. So when we made the plans for the trip, my wife asked me, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to do everything, right? Because I am fascinated and just in love with English culture and the history there. So I'm like, but the couple things I really want to do is I want to get to a couple pipe shops. So I picked a few out in London. We only spent 2 days in London. And on the second day, we were doing a hop-on, hop-off bus tour. And one of the places that we ended up eating lunch, which I can't tell you, I think I had 4, maybe 5 times I had fish and chips while we were there. They are extremely gluten-free friendly. And with my celiac, that made things wonderful. But while we were there, I found a walking route to hit 4 pipe shops. So the first one we went to was called James J. Fox, or as over there they call it JJ Fox. And it was in a place called Selfridges. And if you know anything about London, Selfridges is kind of like Harrods. It's a very up-to-do department store. I think there were 4 floors. And, there was Prada and Gucci and Chanel and like all of these fancy names. And everyone had their own section, their own cash register, their own people. Some of the customers that were walking around, their outfits cost more than everything that Dawn and I together brought with us. Right. So it was a really upscale place. Wasn't what I expected. But when I looked up JJ Fox's there, I didn't know what Selfridges was. And I didn't know it was in this place. So it was on the first floor. We went in, talked to the guy, told him what I was looking for. They didn't have it. First, he was kind of ready to brush me off a little bit, which you get a lot of times when you walk in as an average guy to up-to-do place, right? So he told me to, at the end, he's like, try our store in Harrods. They have a lot more of what you're looking for. So we left there and we walked to a place called Souders, and they actually are getting out of pipes. They had, I don't know, maybe a handful, and they were all basket pipes. From there, we walked to Davidoff's. Now, Davidoff's is, if you're not familiar with it, it's pretty prestigious, awesome to do pipe place, right? They sell everything from Zippos to Dunhill roller gas lighters. You know, the ones that go ting when you open them. They're very expensive, very, very expensive. And we went in and they treated us fantastic. We could have been the king of Jordan. And I mean, they were just so nice and so courteous. And I don't think they cared if we purchased anything. I think it's just that that's who they are, that they just treat everyone as equals. And it was just wonderful. We left there and we went down the street to another JJ Fox's. And we went in there and they had some stuff. They had a really cool Rattray's Natural that I really liked. But there was something just at Davidoff's that I just absolutely fell in love with. So we walked back up to Davidoff's and we went in. And I think they were a little bit surprised. You know, you hear somebody say, "Oh, I'll be back," and they never come back. Went in, looked at the pipe. I'm like, yeah, I'm taking it, right? And my wife's like, "Oh my goodness gracious, I can't believe that you're spending this much money on a pipe." But it was our vacation. We were in England, and it was a Dunhill. So the kid pulls it out, and he takes it apart, and he says, "Sir, this is a 9mm pipe. Would you like any 9mm filters?" And I said, "No, I don't want the pipe. I'm not crazy about... I don't use filters. I think filters are great if that's your thing. I don't use filters in my pipes. And I have a number of 9mm filtered pipes. And I know you can get adapters and things for them, but I wasn't going to spend that kind of money on a Dunhill and have to put an adapter into it. So I went over and I was looking at another pipe that I thought was a Stanwell of anything, but it was on the Stanwell stand. And again, it was another white spot. Dunhill. So he pulled out a box from the back and we were looking at it and I found a Diplomat that I absolutely loved. I was looking for a Prince. I wanted a Dunhill Prince or a Diplomat because those two are my shapes, right? I love the Prince, and the Diplomat, the only difference is a wider oval shank. So I'm like, I love this Diplomat. I'm going to go with this Diplomat. And then I looked down and I said, "Well, what's that Stanwell?" And he said, "Oh no, sir, that's also... because you're very astute. It's on a Stanwell stand. I tried to hide it, but I didn't do a very good job. But that is also a Dunhill." And I looked at it and I'm like, "Oh, yep, this is the pipe that I want." And then he told me the price. And I said, "I will go with that Diplomat." That pipe was number 2 of 5. It was commissioned for some special event in England, for the king or the queen or something. There are only 5 of them made, and that was number 2 of 5. I looked at another one there, and that was number 4 of 10. So there are a lot of very exclusive Dunhill pipes there, way out of my price range. So let me show you they call it the white spot now because Alfred Dunhill tried to get all of their name off of all of tobacco products. So now to come home, I packed it with some tissue paper, although this was on my carry-on bag. So actually not even on my carry-on bag, it was on my personal bag, the one that was on my shoulder. You know, if you've never gotten a white spot, it comes also in this bag, you know, your pipe sock, and it also comes with this really cool little booklet. Like this is a hard box, right? This is not your standard cardboard box. One guy said to me, "Sir, that's a beautiful pipe that you're smoking." And I said, "Thank you." And he's like, "Do you mind if I take a look?" And I said, "No." Handed it to him and he goes, "Oh, this is an American K. Woody." And it was a modern day K. Woody, and it's my K. Woody. I'll show it to you here in a minute. It's my K. Woody Prince. And he was very excited because he said he's been looking for K. Woody. So, but anyway, this is your little booklet that comes with it. It's written in multiple languages. It has the Dunhill shape chart on it. It's just a really cool presentation that they do. Now, here is my Diplomat. Now, this is not a fancy Dunhill, but it's still not inexpensive. This is a Dunhill Shellbriar Diplomat. It is a Group 5. It is a, 5128. You would think that I would know that. It was made not far from where I bought it. So it is just a beautiful, beautiful pipe. Now, we were so busy in England that I was afraid that I wasn't going to get to actually have the first smoke out of this pipe in England. That was another thing that I really wanted to do. The last night we were there, we packed everything ready to go. My wife went to bed. I sat outside the hotel and I had a quarter bowl of St. Bruno flake. It's in the pouch in England. A quarter bowl of St. Bruno flake in that pipe, just so for my peace of mind that my first smoke in my Dunhill was in its country of origin. Now, I also picked up while we were there a tin of Rattray's Accountant's mixture, and I was a little concerned that they were going to let me come home with this. Now, the only other pipe-related item I got, we were in a town called Stratford-upon-Avon, which is Shakespeare's birthplace, and we were walking. We parked one place and we saw Anne Hathaway's house. We went to Shakespeare's birthplace and we walked from there over to Shakespeare's new house. And on the way back, we passed a little grocery store, and I can't remember the name of it. But we went in because my wife promised her students that she would bring them back some candy. We're standing at the candy section, and she actually asked two teenage boys who were in their school uniforms that what kind of candy is their favorite, because she's taking it home to her students. They got a huge kick out of that. And I told her the next day they're going to be at school saying, yeah, we met this American woman who asked us what kind of candy to buy. And she was with this fat man who probably, why don't you ask him? He knows all about candy, right? Like I was making this joke. And they told her to buy squashies. So if you're from the UK and you know what squashies are, if they're gross, then they pulled a fast one on us. But we'll find out tomorrow when she goes to school. But they had this clipper lighter, and I've never seen one like this. I like the Bic with this on it, but this is refillable because it's a clipper, and I picked this one up as well. Now, you're allowed one butane lighter, soft flame lighter on the airplane. So I had the Jeep. So guess what? This one went in my wife's pocket. She brought it home because I didn't want to throw it away because it's a perfectly good lighter. So what did I take with me? Well, I asked Brian Levine, and he told me that you could take a soft flame lighter and you could take your pipes and you could take tobacco, but he recommended that you only take as much with you as you could smoke in a week. Don't take a lot, especially if you want to bring something back. So I took Germain's plum cake. Now, I never had this, which was also a great thing to do. It's probably not advised to take something you never had to a foreign country and not know if you're going to like to smoke it. Number one, I learned this stuff is really wet, so I actually spread it out on my bullet journal and let it dry overnight while we were there. But it was really good stuff. I also took with me a brand new tin, never been open, of 2022's 8-State Burley. It stayed in my bag. It's still never been open. And the entire time we were there, 3 bowls I loaded up with this stuff. 3. The first 2 I smoked. The 3rd bowl is still packed in my K. Woody Prince because it's the only pipe that ever made it out of my bag. We had so much stuff planned. We wanted to see as much as we possibly could. And because we were traveling and doing things, we did a lot of stuff in the countryside. We saw the Jurassic Coast. We saw Dorchester Roman House. We got to go actually in and see the mosaic floor, which nobody's typically allowed to do. They just happened to be cleaning it. They're one time a year cleaning. The curator of the site allowed us to walk in and stay on this small concrete place because no one's allowed to walk on this stuff without having special booties on their feet because it's thousands of years old. But because we were doing all that stuff and in rental cars, I didn't get a chance to smoke my pipe very much. This is the K Woody I took, and it's got the wind cap on it. If you're not using these wind caps, then you really should. You pack your pipe, you throw your wind cap on there, it goes in your pocket. You smoke part of the pipe, you go into a store, you tamp it out, you put the wind cap on it, it goes back in your pocket. You don't have to worry about the ash or anything coming out of it. So I took that one with me. I also took with me my Savinelli 2023 St. Nicholas Prince. I took with me my S&M Stephen, or S and R Stephen Roswitha pipe. Again, another Prince-shaped pipe. I took with me my Nicotinsky. I took with me my Stanwell. This is the one that I got from Bill's Estate. It's from the 2007 Chicago Pipe Show. And I also took with me my S&R Stephen Roswitha Bulldog. Again, the only pipe that I loaded and smoked the entire time we were there is I smoked this the first day. I loaded and smoked this the second day. I cleaned it out and loaded it to come back up north on Thursday, and it's never been lit because we just never had a chance to stop because we were just seeing as much as we could. So that was awesome. It was just a fantastic, fantastic trip. I have some of this St. Bruno flake actually that's been drying here, so I'm going to load this Dunhill up. And man, I'll tell you, now I'll tell you a little bit about the trip now that I'm 16 minutes into the video. Probably not going to be a very watched video because not a lot of people like long videos, but I can't get any shorter than this. So we flew in, we left on Saturday, the March 2nd, from Pittsburgh, and we flew into London Heathrow. We landed right around 8 o'clock or so Sunday morning at UK time. So they're 5 hours ahead of us on the East Coast. And now it's 4 hours until the end of March because we spring ahead the beginning of March. They don't spring ahead until the end of March. So now it's only 4 hours. We were told when we get there, do not go to sleep. Stay awake. Our hotel let us, they stored our bags for us until we could check in. And then my wife is in a walking boot. She tore some tendons and ligaments in her ankle. And she's still in the walking boot. So we did as much as we could on Sunday, on and off of buses. We went to dinner and we went back to the hotel, and we were doing everything we could to stay awake. And then finally at 9 o'clock at night, so UK time, we just called it quits, and we were out. Got up early Monday morning. Again, back onto the on and off bus, hopping on and off the bus. We got to see the changing of the guard at Buckingham Palace, which we didn't know that was even going on that day. We got to see, I think it's called the horse parade, when they bring the horses out and change them at the Treasury. We got to walk through St. James Park. The marble arches right now are covered in a great big building because they're preserving them. So we didn't get to see them. We toured the Tower of London. We took a boat tour. We rode the London Eye. We saw the London Bridge, Big Ben, Parliament, Westminster Abbey. We toured one of the big churches. I can't remember which one it was. Maybe St. John, St. Paul. I can't remember at this point. And we did all of that stuff in 2 days. We also, Monday night, my wife, we were driving by somewhere on the bus, and I saw a statue of a Corgi dog. And my wife looked it up, and turned out that there were 19 of them that were placed around London for the Queen's 75th Jubilee. And she decided we should go walk around and find them. So we took an Uber to the middle of nowhere, Westminster City. Which, of course, you're in the city, so it's not actually the middle of nowhere. The Uber driver was shocked. Like, there's no restaurants or anything. He dropped us off there. We went, we found the Corgis, took a picture of it. And then we had mapped out like 7 or 8 of them. And unfortunately, most of them have been taken down. We did get to see 3 of them. One was in a very upscale hotel. The doorman took us in, showed us everything. It was just wonderful. And I ate fish and chips. Anytime I could find gluten-free fish and chips, that's what I ate. Then Tuesday, we were supposed to rent a small SUV. They gave us a small cargo van. We toured the English countryside all the way down, almost to the coast. into Dorchester, England. We stayed with our friend Joe, who took us sightseeing. We saw a church that was built in the 1200s. We saw an abbey that they're not exactly sure where the original one was. It was burnt down. St. Augustine's fountain, Combe Gibbet, which the lovely story there is, it's just amazing. A windmill, the Crawford beam engines were closed on the way back up. We saw Stonehenge. We saw a castle. We saw Shakespeare's birthplace, Shakespeare's new house, and Hathaway's house. And then we got to show in Crufts, which is the most prestigious dog show ever. So I forgot to mention in the original video that I took 5th out of 8 with Locke, Piper's son, and Don took 4 out of 9 with Piper, which is just an amazing outcome. It was just wonderful, just a great trip. So now I'm going to light up my Dunhill with his first full bowl of tobacco. And I'm going to do it with my American Zippo. Oh, maybe not. Nope. This been sitting for a week. Hasn't been, haven't filled it. So, right with my Caribbean instead. Man, I love St. Bruno's flake. So, 21-minute video. I know not a lot of people are going to watch the whole way through, but it was an adventure and a half, and I can't wait to someday be able to do it again. I know, it wasn't an inexpensive trip by any means, but it's something that I really hope that we get to do soon. So until we talk again, my friends, remember, life is good, but it's better with a pipe, especially a pipe that you get when you're on an adventure.